right? So I'll try to be as brief as possible just to avoid any information overload. So if you have questions, do not hesitate to post them at the Facebook page of Gateways to Canada, or if you're joining the Zoom meeting here, just drop your messages there. All right. All right. Since 2020, we are known as the best low-cost, high-return study destination in Canada. Low-cost meaning mura, high return, the investment is good in terms of pag nag-aral ka, mabilis po ang balik. As you all know, studying in Canada is all about investment. It's an investment to yourself to be able to determine what future you will have, especially in Canada. So again, we are low-cost and high return. So that's in the term of a business definition. Okay. This 2021, we are branding ourselves as the fastest partner agent, specifically Gateways to Canada, in helping us reach that goal. Marami po tayong natulungang Pilipino to be able to study at CNC, and we'll be having more of them very, very soon. All right. So our school is located in Prince George. This is a picture of Prince George, and where is it exactly located? So para po madali lang nating ma-visualize, if you'll be imagining British Columbia as the Philippines, Vancouver can be compared to Metro Manila. PG in terms of aesthetics and economic potential can be compared closely to at least Baguio City. Aesthetically speaking, it is also a combination of urban and nature in one. So it's not as crowded as major cities, but there are opportunities available in the area as well. So it's perfect balance of again urban and nature in one. The weather, there's the Canada as a whole in general is malamig po talaga. But in Prince George, we can describe the weather as sunny, cool. So maaraw pa rin naman po. A lot of what they call this activities that you can do as well in terms of leisure. We have outdoors in nature, as mentioned. We have nature in one, and urban in one. We also have malls, nightlifes, bars, malls, and retail outlets. Now, one of the questions that we always get to ask is, marami po bang Pilipino sa Prince George? The answer to that is yes. It's a growing number of a population. Of course, it's not as much as other destinations, but again, it's growing. That's why it's perfect that you can apply as early as now so you get first-hand experience, okay, sa opportunity pagdating sa Prince George. Mind you as well, Prince George is the third most invested city in British Columbia right now. Kung third most invested city siya, it shows only the potential of the economy, which means marami pong trabaho. Eventually, there be decongesting or palalawakin po ng Canada, ng British Columbia, yung opportunities outside of major cities, and Prince George is one of those destinations makuha ng opportunities. As you can see in the graph here, the Filipinos are one of the fastest growing minority population in Prince George. Right now, based on our count, we are around 1,000 to 2,000 Filipino residents in PG. 60% of those are students. And I would say the remaining would be Filipinos coming from major cities who relocated to Prince George, seeing the opportunity and for mainly one reason, that is low cost. Again, mura po ang manirahan sa aming province. So low cost, but the salary is high. Okay? The salary of Vancouver, of British Columbia as a whole is the same. So if you choose to stay at Prince George, mura po ang gastusin. Okay, again, place to live in BC due to low prices on real estate and the regular cost of living. So if your goal eventually is to migrate in Canada, it's definitely a good start for you because this is where realistically you can buy a house for your family eventually pag pinetisyon nyo na sila. Right, what's the economy in Prince George like right now? Number one industry is still forestry. Depending on the background you're taking, if you're into human resources, business, accounting, of course, the industry serving is we are also famous in terms of healthcare and medical sciences and also tourism. If you remember the map I showed a while ago, nasa gitna ng gitna, which is very strategic in ng residents ng British Columbia, if they want specialized medical needs, they go to Prince George because the location is just perfect. All right. So in a nutshell, if you choose to stay or study in Prince George, You earn more and you save more. The best analogy I can give you is that imagine you're earning the salary of Metro Manila, but the cost of living is like you're in Ilocos region. Ganun po katipid. So the cost ratio of cost to expense, mas malaki ang savings mo. Most of the students in George, although libre naman po ang mag-estudyante, of course considering matipid din po kayo, okay? Hindi ko maraming savings, magiging magastos. So,
Prince George is a wonderful place to raise a family.
Place I grew up in. When I first came out here in 2002, I was like, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? You got somewhere to go? You're coming by? Really an original trait. For the places that I've lived, I've don't know how these people do it time and time again, and they keep supporting, and so they're constantly supporting the community they live in because they believe
from a greater metropolitan area into a smaller city, but it's been great. And once again, the people and her friends here are as close as the friends she's ever had. I think the biggest thing any place where you have to wear sunglasses 12 months a year is a great place. I live quite rural by Prince George standards, but ultimately I'm 15 minutes door to door between my home and my office, and that used to be an hour and a half commute. So daughter's volleyball games, lots of different things that I would have probably missed had I been in the city.
I love the fact that commute times are a lot less than in major cities. A lot more free time to be outside and be active. Go once golf season comes, go golfing and do all sorts of stuff like that. And the best part about living in Prince George is lots of outdoor activities. The fact that there's no rain or hardly any rain, and I like the snow as well. And amenities that a major city will have, which is great. Spending most of my life in major cities, I like to have the ability to go out for a nice meal every once in a while and go to a mall and get all the things I need.
I love Prince George. I never what people call a small town, but it's small, first off, and there's so many activities that you can do that you cannot do. Boarding and go around the corner. So reading medical school, I applied to multiple places, including Simon Fraser University, University of Toronto, University of Western Ontario. I chose CNBC. Your university education, are you not?
I hope you can consider our province. Now to start and live your life in George. It's basically through our school, CNC, or College of New Caledonia. Now, who is CNC? We are a public school located in PG for 50 years now. We do offer diploma programs, and since we're public, we do offer PGWP in all our programs as long as it's 8 months at least. We can also say that it's all about the combination of affordability and quality. That is what CNC is all about. Our seats are every January, May, and September. Right now, we are open for September, but some of our courses are already closed. To be honest, we have exceeded our seats for most programs. That's why most of the new applicants we are accepting right now, lahat po sila are only excess na or opened new seats for that program. We try to accommodate as much Filipinos as we can. So if you're interested to study at CNC, please apply as soon as possible. But expect the possibility that you may start your intake at least up to January 2022 na po. Sorry, September 2021 or January 2022. Okay, depende po sa program kung kailan siya open for intake. Our tuition fees is very affordable, as low as 9,000 Canadian per year, again depending on the program, but overall it can be as low as a 40% compared to other destinations. All our programs, 99% are no IELTS except for healthcare program, though we are not offering that right now. Nag-close na rin siya. But yeah, no IELTS po tayo. Our application fee, it's bundled sa tuition deposit, 125 Canadian dollars. Sadly, we cannot waive that amount. Mainly, the reason po kasi na sobrang mura na po ng cost ng tuition namin. Hindi mo siya mararamdaman kasi you pay the tuition deposit, kasama na po ron yung application fee. Now, how do you make payments? Ito po yung options natin. But to get to know more, it's better that you get assessed with Gateways to Canada. So our tuition deposit starts at 6,500 or 10,000. Depende po siya, hindi po siya depende sa course or program. Fixed amount of 6,500 or 10,000, may equivalent naman pong nakalagay as you can see in our screen. Then the next payments will be every semester na po. All right. For the process, I'll leave this to Gateways to Canada, but as you can see, we try to make it easy not only for you guys, but also to our partners. So we don't need the high school documents. You just submit what you can see on our screen, right? I am encouraging everyone, if you want to study at CNC, to process your application via paper or manual application. Now you're thinking, why not go online? Here's the thing. The people processing our online application are from Canada directly. So they're Canadians. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is, if I'll be helping you out to follow up or monitor your application, I need to know that it came from me. Because at least I know I saw your documents and it's easier to defend. Because the system in Canada is very different. And the system when we do it manually here in the Philippines also a bit different. And let's just say I am more lenient because I am from the Philippines and I know how documentation here works. So please do process them manually, much better and much easier. Right. I'll just skip this one, but right now po, I'll be honest with everyone listening here, medyo natatagal lang kami sa pag-i-issue ng mga letter of offer, letter of acceptance because again, the application, the demand talaga is sobrang dami nagpa-process sa amin. So it's now taking up to 1 month. Hopefully we can improve that one. We are over applied and understaffed pa po kami due to the pandemic. But I appreciate everyone if they'll be patient. But because it's worth it to study at CNC. Okay, I'll just skip this one. Also the fees, I'll just skip this one because you don't need to pay this one. You only pay this one in Canada na po. Okay, focus tayo kung ano yung babayaran bago lumipad. Okay, now here are the courses and programs that we are offering. If you'll be checking our website, not all the programs there are offered to international students. Our website is also shown to local or Canadian applicants and other destinations. So if you want the list specifically for Filipinos, inquire at Gateways to Canada as soon as possible. Right, here are the programs that we have for business and management. As you can see in your screen, all of these are no IELTS and with 2 years duration. The most famous program that we have here are the post-diplomas for human resource and tourism and hotel management. Both of these courses are available almost all year round except for tourism. I think it's now offered for fall intake na lang po. Though sometimes due to the demand, we offer them in other intakes as well. The cost of both these programs are only 9,000 plus Canadian per year, less than 10K. Health Sciences and Human Services, nandiyan din po ang specifics natin. Close na po halos lahat. For dental, practical nurse, and healthcare, we are still accepting for dental assisting certificate, early childhood, and social service worker. Okay, but seats are usually limited for our health sciences. Technologies, okay, we have post-diploma in IT. We do prefer our students who will be applying to us for technology programs at least na sana po is graduated within the last 5 years. Okay, and here are our university credit courses and programs. All right, facilities, I'll just run through this. We have everything that you need basically. CNC is a very big campus. You can just check them out on YouTube. Here is my channel down below. I'm not a vlogger. I'm just compiling every video I can find and what we have. So check out my YouTube channel. I really sound like a vlogger, but check it out. You can see videos of CNC and Prince George, so you can have an idea what it's like to invest your future in Canada at Prince George. Right. Accommodation in Prince George is very affordable as well. The cheapest one we found online is 350 Canadian per month. But the average fee would be around 500 to 700 Canadian per month. Right? We have on campus. Again, due to the demand that we're having, you need to apply for on campus at least 6 months before, as much as possible. Okay? Off campus, homestays, we have everything that you need. Right? Comparative analysis, I won't focus on this too much. It's up to you to see how affordable CNC or Prince George itself. Again, it's all about being low cost and high return, right? Wages, very, very good. Let me go back to the previous slides. Just showing here, nabanggit ko po kanina, no? In a nutshell, living in Prince George is all about earning a high salary with low cost of living. So ito po yung comparison natin versus Vancouver kasi same kami ng location in British Columbia. So it's up to you. Depending on your goal, all locations have their own pros and cons. Okay? Group also to current students in Prince George. Okay? So talagang mararamdaman nyo na yung support coming from here pa lang on the onset of your application and once you get to Canada, right? We have everything that you need, but the most important thing I'll highlight here is that the personal and career counseling, usually yung student union po natin. So meron tayong union sa CNC which looks after the rights of the students. Especially pagka-graduate mo, dapat may support ka to transition sa PGWP. So hindi kayo mapapabayaan po ng eskwelahan. Right? And once you get accepted and mabigyan kayo ng letter of acceptance, bibigyan kayo ng jacket and face mask. Dalawang jacket niya. I believe Gateway is also giving away jacket. So sa akin pwedeng pantulog, walang problema. Medyo malaki kasi to. So yeah, I'm hoping you study at CNC. Now, depending on your goal, it's really up to you, but I'm just making a point here that you consider to study at CNC. No? If your basis of deciding is based on location, quality of education, cost of living, or based on income, work after study, or even migration opportunities, studying at CNC is worth every penny. Now, to get to know more, you need to start applying as early as possible and get assessed by Gateways to Canada so we can address specific concerns on your application. Again, we are still very much the low cost and high return. It's a win-win deal if you study at CNC.
Welcome.
Welcome. 환영합니다.
요코소
Mabuhay!
欢迎大家
Moroy. आपका स्वागत है.
All right. Thank you very much and see you very soon. I bring back the floor back to you, team.
Okay, thanks for Angela. So right now, just for a quick or brief discussion on how you can be a permanent resident or about this study visa application, I would like to introduce Sir Apple Puntar. He'll be discussing about the study visa application. Sir Apple.
Thanks, Tin. Thanks, Sir Angelo. Thank you very much. Appreciate really.
All right. So at this point, my topic will be about the immigration pathway via student visa. This will be a very, very short presentation. We will be focusing on how you will become a permanent resident through student visa pathway. And I will also talk about student visa application process itself. All right. But first, uh, let me emphasize that we are not just an education agent, all right? There's a huge difference between an education agent and immigration consultancy firm. While education agent may actually be able to help you connect with the school, assist you with the admission application process, but they are not in the position to guide you with your immigration plans. All right. Although we have several partner schools in Canada, we are not just an education agent. We are an immigration consultancy firm with over 30 years of experience doing Canadian visa processing. So we have the authority because our clients are being represented by an ICCRC registered immigration consultant. And then we have experience, right? And we've been doing this, like I've said, for over 30 years already. Now, how to become a permanent resident in Canada. The key factors are number one, based on the current immigration programs of Canada, they prioritize those with Canadian education credentials, those with Canadian work experience, and those with permanent and full-time employment or job offer. So obviously, you cannot have this if you are outside Canada. So dito pumapasok yung advantage ng pagiging international student graduate. So mas nagiging madali yung pagiging permanent resident. Alright? I'm not saying na hindi ka pwedeng maging permanent resident kung hindi ka mag-aaral. It's just that it's a bit difficult going to Canada as a permanent resident directly without these key factors. Alright? So if you're not going to study in Canada, the alternative would be to find a job offer. Find a Canadian employer who is willing to sponsor you to do the tedious process, and it will cost the employer. So, but think about this: if you're the employer, who would you rather hire? Those who are outside Canada or those who are already inside Canada with the proper work permits, right? So it is in that context why it is easier to immigrate via international student pathway, right? So here's basically how it works. You need to make sure that you will be studying a program and at a school which is post-graduation work permit eligible like College of New Caledonia, right? Hindi lahat ng nag-aaral sa Canada ay nabibigyan ng work permit after graduation. Kung nagkamali ka ng pili ng school and ng program, kailangan mo bumalik sa iyong home country kung walang employer na mag-i-sponsor sa iyo. Pero kung tama yung school and program na napili mo, then even without employer, you will be given up to 3 years of post-graduation work permit. If you studied for 1 year, you'll only be given 1 year open work permit. If you studied for 2 years, you'll be given 2 to 3 years post-graduation work permit. So if the goal is to apply for permanent residency in Canada, take a 2-year program. In some instances, one-year program will work, but generally speaking, it is to your advantage if you're going to take a 2-year program. Let me explain that. So the goal is to gain 1-year Canadian work experience, right? So assuming you completed your 1-year program and then you were issued a work permit for 1 year. Unfortunately, it took you 4 months before you landed a permanent and full-time employment, right? So you'll be only be able to gain 8 months Canadian work experience, which is not enough for Canadian experience class PR application. But if you have a 3-year work permit, then you have a longer time. All right. So as an international student, you are actually entitled to a lot of benefits. This is why we call this golden visa, because as an international student, while studying, you can already work part-time, up to 20 hours per week. And during school breaks, you can actually work full-time, right? And that usually is around 3 months, the school breaks. So you work part-time, 20 hours per week while studying. You can work full-time during scheduled school breaks. If you have an accompanying spouse and kids, your spouse may work full-time, and then your school-age kids may actually um, study for free from kinder until grade 12. All right. So after completing your program, you get your 3 years post-graduation work permit. You make use of that period to gain 1 year Canadian work experience, find a permanent and full-time employment, and then you will be on your way to permanent residency. One scenario that is quite possible, and it usually happens, is that while you are studying, your spouse was able to get a permanent and full-time employment, which is eligible for PR, then we may already process your PR application while you are still attending school. So mas may advantage yan kung may kasama kang spouse, mas nagiging mabilis ang PR application. Right? All right. So, but again, yeah, that is possible to become a permanent resident in Canada. Kaya lang, let me emphasize this point. This is very important. Studying in Canada is not a guarantee that you will become a permanent resident. Right? Let me repeat that. Studying in Canada is not a guarantee that you will become a permanent resident. Nothing is automatic, nothing is guaranteed. It is for this reason why it is very important that if you are planning to hire somebody to guide you with your application, you should choose the right company, the right firm to assist you. An education agent may be able to guide you with your school admission, but they cannot guide you with your immigration plan. So the difference is most education agents, they would encourage you to apply through their partner schools, right? So if your preferred school is not their partner, most likely they will not be able to assist you. But in our case, partner or not partner, we will assist you because we're not just an education agent. So the way we do it, we are going to ask you about your preferences. Do you have preferred school? Kung wala, meron ka bang preferred province, city? Ano yung field ng program na gusto mo, field of studies? Are you willing to take the IELTS or not? Ano yung budget mo sa tuition? From those information, our admission team will be searching for school and programs na pasok doon sa iyong preferences. And ultimately, you will decide kung saang school at anong program yung gusto mong kunin. We will not impose. Right? And dito pa lang, i-guide na namin kayo as to the consequences of your choices. If you choose this province, this city, this will be the available immigration pathways. So it may not be ideal for you. You may want to consider other province. We do that dito pa lang before you even start, before you even sign up. We will already guide you with those information because what we want is for you to have an informed decision. All right? Now, as to the eligibility, the main requirement is actually the financial capacity. There's no age limit because education is supposedly a continuous process, right? So, meron kaming client, 51-year-old nung nag-aral sa Canada, malapit na rin silang maging PR. So, there's no age limit. So, if you're already on early 40s, hindi siya problema. Alright? So, ang main requirement dito is meron kang financial capacity. As for the processing time, medyo hindi pa stable yung processing timeline ngayon. Pero sa experience, before the pandemic, 1 to 2 months lang may result na yan. Pero given the current situation, medyo average yan 3 months yung processing. So I would suggest that if you are planning to study in Canada, you file your application as soon as possible. Not later than 3 months before the scheduled intake. Alright? Alright, so cost of studying in Canada. Ito yung mahalaga. No? Kailangan makonvince mo ang visa officer na meron kang funds to cover your 1-year tuition and 1-year living expenses. Tuition, on the average, is around 15,000 Canadian dollars for 1 year. But like Sir Angelo explained earlier, relatively mura mag-aral sa College of New Caledonia. Sa mga major cities, yung mga public colleges, right now nasa 16,000 na actually halos, no? 15 to 16,000 yung 1 year. Pero sa College of New Caledonia, yung 1 year tuition for purposes of student direct stream application is only 10,000 Canadian dollars, right? So tuition varies from ranges from 10 to 12,000 1 year, right? So for the living expenses, okay, let me clarify on that first. You don't need to pay the tuition in full. No? It's not mandatory. Usually the school would require between 1 to 8,000 tuition deposit. So if you don't have plan of paying 1 year tuition in full, that is okay. But you need to understand that top of the reason, no? Number one sa list, bakit nare-refuse yung student visa application is because of the inability to convince the visa officer that you have the funds to pay for your tuition and for your living expenses. Right? Yung living expenses varies kung ilan kayong aalis. If you're single, it's only 10,000 Canadian dollars, something like mga 400,000 pesos. And this is meant to cover your accommodation, food, transportation, and other incidental expenses during your stay in Canada as international student for 1 year. Kung may kasama kang spouse, you need to add additional 4,000, and if you have kids, 3,000 each. So how do you convince the visa officer that you have the funds? The best way is to apply under student direct stream. How to do that? You pay your 1 year tuition in advance. You open a GIC account. GIC account is basically your savings account or investment account in Canada, right? And take the IELTS. Although IELTS is not mandatory sa College of New Caledonia, it is to your advantage if you will take IELTS. The visa officer prefers that you have the IELTS. And if you take the IELTS, pay 1 year tuition in advance, open a GIC account, their commitment is to process your application within 30 days. And mas mataas yung chances ng approval dahil hindi ka na pagdududahan kung may pera ka ba o wala. Now, if you're not going to do this, pwede kang mag-submit ng bank certificate. Yung bank certificate pwedeng nakapangalan sa'yo, being the applicant, or pwede ka namang may sponsor. Sa totoo lang, bihira yung nag-a-apply ng SDS. Right? Kasi sa totoo lang, less than 10% lang ng mga applicants yung totoong readily available yung funds. Kadalasan yan may support from family. So if you're one of those na thinking na mahal pala at hindi kaya, hindi po kayo nag-iisa, and that's good news. Kasi yung mga nakapunta sa Canada, yan po yung unang sinasabi. Right? So don't be sad kung hindi siya available right now. What will make the difference is that yung motivation niyo, bakit niyo ba gustong mag-migrate sa Canada? Because if you're saying na gusto niyo mag-migrate sa Canada because you want to give your family a quality life, then what's stopping you? So nagagawan kasi ng paraan yung funds na yan. Right? So again, we highly recommend that you apply under student direct stream. Okay, nasa latter part na ako ng slides ko. After this, I'll be happy to answer your question as well as Sir Angelo to answer yung questions about College of New Caledonia. But at this point, let me just show you some of our clients who send us feedback about their experience and our services. Please, before you sign up with us, please do your due diligence. Check us out. Check nyo po yung Facebook page namin, read the reviews, communicate with our clients to validate yung mga information na nakapost. Most of them are very responsive. So if you visit our website, there are links about the original post. You can communicate with them and validate everything. And then from there, make an informed decision. So it's not mandatory that you hire us, right? If you think you can do this on your own, go ahead. Wala naman pong problema. Information is available for free by visiting canada.ca. But if you think you need assistance, then we can help you, definitely. So si Miss Dana is a registered nurse. Sa British Columbia sila pumunta. Parehas silang registered nurse ni Sir RJ. Naging permanent resident sila, hindi dahil kay Miss Dana, dahil kay Sir RJ. Si Sir RJ, being a registered nurse, nagtrabaho as a healthcare aide. Nung naka 2 years na experience siya as healthcare aide, ini-apply namin siya ng PR through caregiver program, and then they were given permanent residency. And our assistance is from end to end. It's an option. It's a choice from your end. No? So pwede nyo kaming i-hire na hanggang student visa application lang, or pwede nyo kaming i-hire na hanggang Canada, i-assist namin kayo. So, kung ang i-avail yung package is hanggang PR, so after na meron na kayong student visa, pagdating nyo sa Canada, we will continue monitoring your status. Kung kailangan mag-extend ng study permit, we will do that. Kung kailangan ng mag-extend, mag-apply ng post-graduation work permit, we will also do that. And then kung kailangan extend yung work permit for whatever reason or study permit for whatever reason, minsan magbabakasyon ka, hindi mo matatapos in time yung program, so kailangan ng extension, we will also do that. And then one of you qualifies for any PR programs, we will also do the processing. Everything can be done online as long as you communicate with us, it's not a problem. These are the things that an education agent will not be able to do for you. Kasi ang services nga po nila is hanggang yun nga, admission application. And sometimes they also provide visa application assistance, which technically is not allowed because in order for somebody to represent you for a fee, dapat authorized representative sila, either ICCRC registered immigration consultant or meron silang immigration lawyer on board. All right? Okay, so si Mr. April naman and yung asawa niya, nagpunta naman sila sa Manitoba. Ang feedback naman nila is medyo meticulous and detailed kami sa instructions and documentation. This is because student visa application, walang interview. The decision will be based on the documents that you will be submitting. Kung medyo naguluhan yung visa officer, hindi ka naman yan tatawagan for confirmation. So kung naguluhan siya, hindi niya nakita yung mga information na kailangan niyang makita, pwede ka nang i-refuse right there and then. Right? So wala siyang interview. It is for this reason na medyo mahigpit kami. When we took your case, hindi yan basta sinasubmit sa application, sa visa office. Dumadaan yan sa series of checking. Right? So kaya medyo meticulous kami and detalyado pagdating dun sa mga instructions. Minsan, for filing na lang yung application, dumaan sa QA, may nakita pang mga inconsistencies, medyo ibabalik pa yan sa drawing board to correct whatever needs to be corrected. So that is how detailed we are when it comes to documentation of your application. Si Miss Julia naman is a grade 12 student, right? So sa Canada naman siya tuloy ng kanyang bachelor's degree. And her feedback is we are responsive. We try to do it. So we have checks and balances kapag meron kaming team members na hindi nag-reply within the prescribed period. So we have feedback mechanism para ma-address kaagad yung concerns immediately. Right? Okay, so for your next step, for those of you who've already done the online assessment and kung ang question po ninyo is magkano yung babayaran, sign up using the link nandyan sa screen. Okay? Once you signed up, pipili kayo kung student visa lang ba or kasama na yung PR application. And then you will receive via email the detailed cost of application mula sa consultancy fee, visa fee, biometrics, medical, and other incidental expenses. Lahat yun mapapadala po sa inyo. Alright? So, mababasa nyo muna yan lahat. That's in writing before kayo mag-decide to hire us. So, we want you to have an informed decision. Sign up only kapag sa tingin ninyo ay matutulungan namin kayo. Kung sa palagay nyo naman po ay kaya nyo itong gawin mag-isa, then by all means, go to canada.ca. Everything is in there. The difference is that if this will be your first time to do this, you are more susceptible to common mistakes. Common mistakes na pinagdaanan na namin. So the advantage is, pwede namin kayong iiwas. While we cannot guarantee approval of your application, certainly we can help you increase your chances through proper documentation. And if after this, meron pa kayong mga follow-up questions, even after our Q&A later, pwede kayong mag-book ng appointment with any of our case managers. If you did the online assessment, a case manager will be assigned to you. So book an appointment, pwede kayong mag-usap over the phone, Zoom, Skype, or if you prefer to visit our office is in Alabang, Muntinlupa City, sa tapat lang po ng Festival Mall. All right? So, Tin, let's answer the questions if there's any. Thank you.
Okay. For our attendees po, if may mga questions